ago, I taught at a summer camp for local high school students. The students had been identified by their teachers as individuals who enjoyed science and might blossom as science teachers, but who had often been overlooked. Picture this. The camp is designed around the Mythbusters TV show. And as Georgia bakes in the summer heat, the teens explore light and vision. Why do pirates wear eye patches? The students developed theories with multicolored markers on huge whiteboards. They donned eye patches and they ran experiments. From there, they translated their learning into interactive activities for middle school students, leading the way in helping those children have their own summer science camp discoveries. Afterward, we gathered, the high school students beaming, and those of us guiding them, hearts bursting into bloom. It was everything one could hope for in a learning experience. Now, conjure the faces of students in your life. How often do they come home from school beaming from the learning? Rarely. It may come as no surprise that many view their schooling as a necessary evil or even an inescapable slog. In a survey of more than 20,000 high school students, researchers found that most are tired, stressed, and bored. As a person who prepares middle, high school, and college teachers, I frequently observe in schools, and I have seen the vacant eyes. Ken Robinson knows the slog. In 2006, in the most widely viewed TED Talk of all time, he made the case that children have immense creative capacities that are often squandered in traditional education. He noted that the rigid system in our current schools, it discourages the very type of learning our students need most to navigate a rapidly changing and uncertain world. He advocated instead for education that celebrates the arts, mistakes, each person's individual talents and interests. He advocated for a revolution to ensure that this would become the norm. And he is not the first. As early as the late 1800s, theorists such as John Dewey criticized the factory model designed for efficiency that we still use today. Students sit in hard desks, a teacher at a board feeds them information, the students dutifully scribble it down, practice, and are tested. They slog through the material together, whether they can't keep up, or are uninterested, or already know it. The one who does the work does the learning, but too often it is the teacher who is doing the hard work of thinking, while the students just passively receive. Let's stop this slog. Ken Robinson's TED Talk has been viewed more than 77 million times. Yes. So, surely there must be a widespread desire for schools to embrace this revolution. So I ask you, what is it we're not seeing, and how might we finally bring this revolution to life? It isn't as if a fully developed alternative model doesn't already exist. Such a model has been widely promoted by colleges of education and national teaching organizations for decades. Basically, it focuses on discovering and then building upon student strengths and interests while personalizing for their needs. Picture this: education that works with the curiosity, energy levels, and social nature of our young people. It builds on intrinsic motivation so that the students can learn what they need to while also pursuing what intrigues them, making it better suited for developing the minds that our children will need for the whirlwind we call the future. Less standardization, fewer standardized tests, fewer standards, and more movement, more higher order thinking, more co-construction of knowledge. But does research support this new paradigm? Indeed. Research supporting the various aspects of this model is high quality and would fill this auditorium from floor to ceiling. So, if this vision is fully developed, supported by experts in research, and widely popular, why hasn't the revolution Ken called for happened? Why didn't more of the 77 million act? I think there are two basic issues. One is that the change feels so immense that it's hard for us to wrap our minds around, and we hope someone else will take care of it. But perhaps more crucially, nearly all of us were educated in the factory model, witnessing, recording, and regurgitating the teacher's learning instead of discovering for ourselves. Basically, if a revolution was possible, it probably would have happened. The desire is there, but the obstacles are just so substantial. So I am here today to tell you that if we're going to have a revolution that is going to transform education, we are going to need a prelude to that revolution. We are going to need to lay groundwork that would allow significant change to organically grow and spread. So, what would that groundwork look like, and what role can you play? Are you ready? First, what can we all do? We can all recognize that we are currently under the spell of the current system, and we can unshackle ourselves by recognizing that the revolution has already occurred, just not in our schools. Camps, clubs, scouts, workshops, retreats, basically out-of-school learning, much like the example that I opened with, these all embody the essence of the vision. We've proven we can do it. We have proven we can do it. In out-of-school learning, we get students excited about learning and bring them joy in the process. And we don't have to make every change at once. If each of us help change one classroom or one school, that would add up. Each example adds to the narrative that a shift is possible and provides an example for others to see it in action. Heck, we have examples of whole countries, such as Finland, who have adopted this model with remarkable results. In addition, we all need to release the myth that only certain types of students can thrive in summer programs or be successful in school. Yes, I know it seems like some people are more capable learners or learn more rapidly, but get this. Recent myth-busting research suggests that what any one person can do, nearly any person can do, given the appropriate conditions. And what might seem like differences in learning speed can actually be chalked up to just better previous learning opportunities, not natural ability. Spread the finding that every student can be successful given the right nurture. Now, I know I like specific recommendations, and I hope you do too. As I make these concrete suggestions, consider what you would be willing to do. There will be a quiz afterwards. Let's make this happen. Teachers, consider the example of Trevi, who no longer considers herself a teacher, but a designer, an expert at creating the conditions under which students will thrive. She doesn't start with the standards, she starts with her students. And she focuses on engagement by preparing much as she would prepare a marvelous summer camp. And she makes sure that the activities will bring her joy as well. Trevi likes to tell people that her goal is to minimize teaching as telling and maximize learning as discovery. And because she knows that interest is a prerequisite for learning, she makes sure to let her students know that if they aren't as engaged as usual, they should let her know so she can do something about it. And you know, Trevi did not take a job at a school that would limit her autonomy or stifle innovation. So administrators, don't stifle innovation. Your support is crucial. Be a Jamila, an administrator who is committed to removing every obstacle that she can. She encourages imaginative learning communities and pilot programs. And you know what? At least once a month, she visits a school that is sending students home exhilarated, and she brings some parents and teachers and students with her. Leading this change has lifted her from burnout to breakthrough. Teacher educators, don't assume that your future teachers will necessarily make the leap from theory to practice. Model it. Consider Sanjay, a teacher educator who draws from the fields that build on the design thinking model so that he can prepare teachers to see themselves as designers of captivating learning experiences, curators, and trusted guides. He exposes them to marvelous real-world examples and encourages them to imagine what could be. Parents in the community, you hold the power. Jamie and Taylor insist that students and teachers come home bursting with enthusiasm, and they point to the abundant research and examples that prove this is possible. They gather folks in their homes, parents, teachers, students, the community, around baked goods. The group works together to make change in their local schools, supporting those teachers most interested in innovation. Let me close with this. Yes, structural change will be necessary. But I suspect that won't be on the table until we have this groundswell, this prelude. In time, we can drastically increase the status of the teaching profession, eliminate many standardized tests and grading. We can develop policy that will allow schools to more easily tailor to their students' and teachers' interests. Let's release the industrial age zeal for uniformity. I understand that some issues feel overwhelming, but changing your schools in your community is doable. Together, let's bring students home exhilarated. What line will you add to the prelude?